Page 47, Squash Blossom. Are you ready for a challenge? Woohoo! This will be our talk-through track, and there certainly is a lot to talk about here. And on the next track, I'll play the whole piece without any blabbing. You may notice right away there's a lot of fretting hand fingerings above the staff, and those are crucial to help you get through this piece. There's also a lot of fingerings, small chords that you'll be holding down throughout a measure. Starting at measure 1, you're holding down a D minor in the beginning. There's your fingering, index, middle, ring. And then you go to the 5th string. You shift your ring finger, add your middle finger on the 2nd string. And then in the next measure, you're holding that position you just grabbed. So from the top so far we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we shift our index finger to 1st string, 8th fret, ring finger grabs 2nd string, 10th fret. Shift down. And that's just a little piece of a D minor scale. Now we're doing a piece of a C scale at measure 5. Okay, so measure 6, I just shifted my ring finger up and did a 2-string bar. Then you have to shift back down to get that index finger to the 2nd string, 5th fret. Now we hold down a B flat bar, just a 3-string one. Shift that bar 1 fret backwards and you got an A. That's the 1st note at measure 9, middle finger frets the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So now I'll play it from the top up through the 1st note of measure 9. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Shift. Shift. Okay, measures 9 and 10, not so bad. I'll give you a count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let me play that again for cleanliness' sake. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're into measure 11. That is a 3-note F chord that we've used before in tunes like Little Maggie. And you just hold that fingering down for the whole 11th measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we just take that F chord shape, shift it up the frets 5, 6, and 7, and we have the A chord. or another form of an A chord higher up the neck. At measure 13, it's more D minor scale action. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now there's a chord you have to form. And this C chord in measure 14 is an F shape, way up at the 8th, 9th, and 10th frets, though it starts at 10th fret for the picking. But right here, you have to add your ring finger to the picking. So finger-wise, the fingers I'm fretting this with initially is pinky at 1st string 10, middle at 3rd string 9, index at 2nd string 8, add the ring finger on 2nd string 10, and you come out at 1st string 10th fret. Now here's where it could be easy for you. You take that F-shaped C, shift it back 2 frets, and just pick through that. Shift it back 1 fret, and then a D minor lick at the end. Complete with the wrong note. So let me play you from 13 to the end of the A part. 1 and 2 and 13, and here we go. That would take you back to the A part. Repeat. On to the B part, we start with your standard F chord for the first 4 notes of measure 17. Then you got to shift your ring finger. So in a way, that's very similar to the first couple of measures at the beginning, but you're starting with an F chord instead of a D minor chord. Then we have to get to that B flat F shape again at frets 6, 7, and 8. Here is measure 19 and 20. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Shift, regular F, once more for cleanliness. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now, I'll play the whole top line of the B part from measure 17 to the first note of measure 21. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. There's my first note of measure 21, pinky at the 1st string, 8th fret. As I go through there, I'll start at 21 here. Middle finger jumps down to 2nd string, 4th fret. Add your index on 1st string, 3rd fret. Shift your index finger this time to 8th fret. And that's your first note of measure 22. For those of you that are keeping track, this set of licks goes against an E flat chord. So something to scare your guitarist friends with. And okay. So I left off at measure 22, which is also part of the E flat chord of this. You're starting at open 5th string, followed by middle finger picking the 2nd string 9th fret. Index picks the 1st string 8th fret, back to 2nd string. Another 5th string gives you time to shift to frets 11 and 13 on your 2nd and 1st strings, respectively. Now, I'll go back and play just measures 21 and 22. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. One more time for clarity's sake, 21 and 22. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And now we're in this double note position that we just played, 11 and 13. Just shift your pinky back 1 fret and your index as well. Add your middle finger on the 3rd string, 11th fret, and what you have is a higher up D chord with the F shape. Then, -2 frets, you go for a higher C chord at frets 10, 8, 9. Then, minus another 2 frets, you go for the B flat chord at frets 8, 6, and 7. And we're even taking that back 1 more fret to 7th fret 1st string. Then we work our way down to the open 1st string on measure 25. So let me play the first 8 measures of the B part, that is measures 17 through 24. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now you'll find measures 25 to the end of the B part and the piece are exactly the same as measures 9 through 16, other than a slightly different ending on the last measure than 16 was. So let me just play it for you with a count from measure 25 to the end. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The last 2 chord plucks are the A bar at 2nd fret. And then I really keep that bar position down, just adding my middle and ring fingers on 2nd and 1st strings, respectively, to get the final chord. And then, of course, the B part begins again. So I hope that helps you. And on the next track, I'll play the entire piece for you, both A parts and both B parts.